What happens historically in election years with the real estate market? Let's talk about it on Today in Mortgages. Hey, what's up, Dreammakers? Welcome back to the show. We're talking about what's real, what's hype, and what you should actually be paying attention to out there in the world of mortgage and real estate news. It's Today in Mortgage. Rich Jefferson's back with me again here today. Rich, how you been?
I've been good, brother.
All right. Well, hey, we've been talking a couple of episodes now about election stuff, candidates, what they're going to do, what they can and can't do. I don't know if you're tired of the political season yet, but there's a long way to go. Today, Rich, what do we have teed up for us?
Home sales, home prices, and interest rates.
And we're talking about those things kind of in the vein of how they are affected during an election year. So we found an article from keepingcurrentmatters.com, the title of which is How Will the 2024 Presidential Election Affect Real Estate? So, Rich, you mentioned a few of those things that could be affected during an election year. I want to ask you about each of them. We're just going to go through some of the facts today. How's that sound?
Yeah, that sounds good.
First thing we talked about is home sales might slow down. What does that look like during election season?
Yeah, I mean, traditionally, over the last 40 years, there's only been a couple of years following a presidential election cycle that home sales have declined. And that was like 1981 and 1989. So we may see this happen a little bit this election cycle or next year in 2025 only because of inventory, right? We're struggling with inventory that they didn't even struggle back in the 80s, and they still saw a decline. So I'm expecting maybe a bit of a slow because we've got so many people. We've talked about this, Michael, with very low interest rates. They're really not, there's no incentive for them to go buy a new home and take a higher interest rate right now. So that may come into play a little bit next year, but people still want to buy homes. We've seen, what we've seen over the last 4 years.
It looks like historically some of the psychology that they're talking about here is that people are unsure who will be president next year, what the policies will be. And so there's a little bit of wait and see that happens during election year.
Well, some. I mean, just like you and I, Michael, are we thinking about who's going to be president when we want to buy a home?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. I mean, I think, the media can talk about it and journalists can write about it. But if you want to buy a home, most people are not going to say, oh, I'm not going to buy a home if Biden's elected, or I'm not going to buy a home if Trump is elected. It's just not real. That's not a conversation we're having at kitchen tables.
Good point, Rich. Okay, I want to move on to the second thing is that home prices, do they usually fall or rise during the season?
There's only been 1 year where they actually fell, and that was the year after the Great Recession in 2009. So I don't expect prices to fall. Sure, you could have a market here and there where prices fall a little bit, but we're talking 1%, 2%, maybe they fall. It's just not conceivable at this point with the lack of inventory, the high demand. It's still a seller's market and prices continue to rise. We've seen it. The data's there.
Data's definitely there, Rich. We'll throw up this chart, but it doesn't look to me as if there is a lot of causation around elections and home prices. So we'll move on to the third point that mortgage rates this year should continue to trend down. True or false, Rich?
True. I mean, they're not going to climb higher. I just
Hopefully.
don't see it. Thankfully. But they're already trending down, so they're likely to continue trending down. The economists from all the agencies are expecting rates to trend down. And so I just don't see any difference in what we have seen historically after elections.
Rich, looks like there's not going to be any big surprises in the election year when it comes to these 3 points. Anything you want to say on this?
I just really don't see any change other than what we have been seeing, the trends we have been seeing over especially the last 18 to 24 months. Homes will continue to sell, home prices will continue to grow, and rates will continue to trend down. So I would just cast your vote and go buy a home.
Two very American things, Rich. So if you're a loan officer out there and looking to get more professional takes like this, click on the Grow link below and we'll get you all the information you need to know to be a part of the best network in mortgage. Get coaching and pro tips like this every day from Rich and other experts at our company. So Rich, thanks again. Thanks everyone out there for watching, listening. We'll see you next time on Today in Mortgages. Today Mortgages is produced by Network Funding LP, which is an equal housing lender, NMLS 2297. The content of this program is meant to be a commentary on mortgage and real estate news, and any discussion of rates and or products should not be taken as an individual mortgage or home buying advice or pricing estimates. And any commentary on this show should not be considered a promise to make a loan. All applicants for a loan must qualify, and you should consult a professional regarding your individual loan scenarios for your financial situation. Visit our website at nflp.com/licenses for all state licensing and other legal information.